Do you have an Equiband but you don't know where to start? You've maybe seen a video here or a video there, maybe even my video about how to fit the Equiband, but then also it's like, okay, but how tight is it supposed to be? Where do I start? Basically, if I go run on a treadmill, am I supposed to start at 1 mile or am I supposed to start at 10 miles? Is there a problem if I start at 10 miles? Because ultimately, the answer to that question is yes. So this Equi-Tracker is going to solve that problem for you, not only telling you where to start, but how to increase the difficulty over time in the right way so that your horse not only doesn't resist the Equiband, pun not intended because of the resistance bands, but also you can get the best results by using this Equiband and building a program that works for your horse. Today, though, I'm so excited. So today, I'm actually going to show you a tool I created so that you can not only, one, easily determine what percentage your Equiband is at, but two, also so you can track your progress along the way, not just like where you started and where you ended, but all the way through. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Team Fuego. I am so excited for today's video, guys. If you thought that the videos I've already posted about the Equiband were helpful, believe me, this one is gonna blow all those out of the water. So before I dive into that though, I just want to take a moment and say thank you to everybody who's subscribed to this channel and everybody who's sent me messages and comments on either the YouTube videos or Instagram, because honestly, one, I love helping you guys. I really love talking to you about your experiences and the struggles you have with the Equiband. They're not things I haven't heard before, mostly because they were my struggles as well sometimes. And also though, actually, I don't think I've actually come across a problem that I haven't actually faced, really though. But anyway, it not only does it help me connect with you guys, but it helps me create videos like this where I know I can make content that's really helpful for everybody to make progress with the Equiband, because if you're already using it, you already know what that thing is capable of. And if you don't use it yet, then I'll link some videos below about like my review. I have a personal review, a before and after video. If you're not convinced, watch some of those videos, because honestly, the results are, you can't argue with them. Like it's unreal. So this tool really does open a whole new chapter for you and your horse. So today though, I'm so excited. So today I'm actually going to show you a tool I created so that you can not only, one, easily determine what percentage your Equiband is at, but two, also so you can track your progress along the way, not just like where you started and where you ended, but all the way through. So guys, you aren't gonna want to miss how you get your very own Equiband tracker. So we're gonna hop in my computer and I'm gonna do a little demo with my sample spreadsheet, and then I'm gonna tell you how you can download this for yourself. So first though, I just wanted to start with like the reason why I created this. And I created it the first time. Like you'll see there's 3 horses as like my example in here, and those were my 3 horses that I was using the Equiband on. And this spreadsheet, I didn't create it until 5 months into using the Equiband. And what I realized, hindsight being 2020 of course, is that I didn't get to track exactly what I was doing with my horse to get him to where he is. And I think that going forward, all of the horses that I use this on, like it's the same thing when you track, so like if you do fitness with your horse and you track their heart rate, or you do any type of track, it doesn't even, and so not even tracking your horse on your phone, it tracks the number of steps you take. Like tracking your progress is the only way to really determine where you are and where you want to go, and how far you have to go to get to where you're trying to go to. So The reason I created this spreadsheet was because it's just something I really wish that I had thought of 5 months ago, but I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know how much this thing was gonna help. But who knew? All my favorite tools in the horse world are rubber bands. Like, it's just such a silly concept. Because my other favorite is the stretchy rubber band. So anyway, all right, guys. So let's hop in my computer because I'm really excited to show you how this thing works. So I ended up keeping the same intro for my Equi-Tracker, but I have hopped in here because I have completely revamped the Equi-Tracker and I have added so many more cool features to it. So, and also, the Equiband website has, since I created the initial one, they have updated what they give as their best practice advice for using the Equiband. So I have also updated the tracker to reflect the updates that Equiband has made to their product, which is the more knowledge the better, and that's how we get the best results, is by knowing what the newest what the best information is at the time. So I'm really excited to share this with you, and I've added a ton of cool stuff, so let's dive in. So so for those of you that already have the Equi-Tracker, you're going to want to download a new copy. And the good news, though, is if you have the link, it's the same link. You're just going to you're just going to want to make a new copy of it. So, where to start? Because there's kind of a lot to talk about. So the first thing is they have changed. They used to say use it at the highest. Well, they didn't actually say it was the highest. That was always what was so frustrating, is why I started making these videos, is because they didn't put out the correct information about their product, in the sense that telling somebody to use their Equiband on 50% is like saying to somebody who's never worked out, okay, go to the gym and go lift the dumbbell with 200 pounds worth of weight on it. Like, it's just signing somebody up to fail and hurt themselves. And that's what happens with horses. And so they have updated their own stance from the highest being 50% to use it within the range of 67 to 87%. So that's the first update to the tracker that I made, was how do we calculate what 67% is, which is the new 50%, which is their new highest, to, highest, lowest. It's like the new most difficult is 67%, and the new starting point is 87%. So how do we calculate that? Now, 50% used to be an easy thing to calculate, because as I say in the fitting video, what you do is you simply go from the buckle and you go halfway to the butt, halfway across the butt, and then halfway under the abs, and lo and behold, that is 50%. Now, I do want to keep that aspect as a part of this tracker, because that is so much easier than having to measure all the way around. So the good news is I have updated this tracker so that you can still use the 50% measurement, because it's just easier to do. So here is what you're going to do. You're going to go to the barn, and I will insert my fitting video here in case you haven't watched it, so that you know how to actually, like I do a demonstration of how to actually measure it in real time. But for now, once you have your 50% measurement for both the butt and the ab, then you're going to download your Equi-Tracker, and this thing is going to auto calculate everything for you. So as it is in the example, can be for as little or as many horses as you want, and feel free to delete any rows that you're not using. But I wanted to make sure that this thing was able to accommodate everybody who uses the Equiband in their program. So 50% of the ab is 36, and 50% of the butt. And by 50%, I just mean from the buckle to halfway across. And so then columns C and D are going to auto calculate for you. So what this means is 62.64 inches, because this is measured in inches. If you do centimeters, the calculations are still going to work. You're just doing it in centimeters, but I'm just, for full disclosure, this is in inches. But that means that 87%, meaning where you start, is 62.64. Now, we do not have to get that specific about it, right? We don't have to get our measuring tapes out like that. So what I would do is, for the starting point, I would say 62 inches, and you're starting at about 86%. That is perfect. That is in the good zone of where they say to start. Now, say that you've been using it for a couple months, and over time you've slowly increased the tensity of it. Then maybe say now you're at 50. Let's go 52. So say at this point where you are, you're at 52 inches for the full length of the band, and you're riding at about 72%, and you're working your way toward that 67%. But the whole point of this tracker is that it's going to help you calculate. So while that is a 50% measurement, what it does is it's going to tell you how long the band needs to be in total. Now, the reason I kept the 50% measurement is because it is easier to, when you're physically doing it, to measure 50%. So the reason I kept the 50% is because it is easier to just, when you're physically measuring it, to stop halfway around and not have to go all the way around your horse. But note that in column C and D, that is the length of the entire band. So while this is 50% in the sense of this is you just measuring it, what C and D is going to spit out is how long the entire band is going to be. And same over in these in column E and column G. This is off of the entire length of the band. And so this is for column B is for ease of measurements when you're actually at the barn and you can't reach all the way around your horse. And then when you get into columns C through H, that is the entire length of the band. So I want to make sure that that's really clear. That is and why I did it that way, because it's easier to measure it in one hand, and then it's easier to think about the length of the band as the entire thing and not be measuring halfway across the band. So I hope that makes sense. Please let me know any questions in the comments that you have below, but hopefully that should be pretty straightforward. But the point for column C and column D is they're going to auto-calculate for you where you start and where you're headed toward, and then column E and column G is going to tell you basically where you're starting versus where you are. And so the idea here is that column G gets continuously updated as you work with the Equiband with your horse. So that is this first page here. It's going to tell you all of your measurements, where you're starting, where you're trying to head toward, plus what you actually need to measure your band to when you first get started. And over the course of time, which is really what this Equiband tracker is for, because I honestly built this originally because this is what I wish I had when I had gotten started with the Equiband. And column G is going to be something that you're going to continuously update as you work with your horse so that you know how much you are increasing the difficulty. Okay, so without further ado, I have made 2 additional sheets within this spreadsheet, and let's look at these now. So, like I said, if you have more than one horse, like I have 3. The idea is that you would be able to copy these spreadsheets and have an additional, you'd be able to have a tab for each of your horses. So there's 2 different ideas about this tracker. Now, one is tracking it ride to ride. What are you actually doing each individual ride? And then there's the idea of tracking it over the course of time. How are you increasing the difficulty? In what way are you increasing the difficulty? And most importantly, how is your horse responding? Because if I were to ask you, okay, what is the difference between week 1 and week 10? You're going to go, So the idea of this tracker, which, like I said, this is what I wish I had, was to basically get down, when you use the Equiband, track it, because that's going to be your best friend later in figuring out how your horse is responding, what they're responding the best to, and what they potentially need to spend a bit more time on, because there's two ways you can increase the difficulty. That is through the intensity of the band and the amount of time you use it. Now, what do those two things mean? When you're increasing the resistance of the band, that is literally increasing the strength training. That is going from a 10-pound dumbbell to a 20-pound dumbbell. That is increasing the amount of strength you need to use the tool. Versus duration is endurance. That is like going from a 5-mile run to a 10-mile run. This is how long you can use it for. Now, I will say, I have found that horses tend to be better at one or the other, right? Like, and same with people, right? There are some people who are naturally better, they're naturally stronger, and there's some people who are naturally have more endurance. Not to say you cannot build both of them up. You can, and that's why this is so powerful, because you can look at, okay, I increased the resistance. Ooh, they struggled a lot. I increased the duration. That tended to be pretty easy. So that in and of itself is going to tell you how your horse is growing and developing, because this is a fitness plan. Nothing happens overnight. There is no magic pill. Believe me, I would take it if there was one, because for me personally, I want a magic pill for fitness. It would be easier that way. But the point is that you have to use this over the course of time, and you really have to create the fitness program around what your horse is doing and saying to you. So let's go through these columns really fast. Now, this is pretty straightforward. This is your daily check-in. So what date was the ride? How tight is your ab band right now? How tight is your butt band right now? And how long have you used it for? Now, this is simple plug and play, right? Now, for the rest of these three columns, this is where I want you to assess how your horse is feeling. Now, first on struggle, basically, did your ride or workout seem easier than the previous one? And 1 to 10. You can use the system however you want. This is just to give you an idea of what you're trying to track as you move along. So 1, little to no change. 10, maximum change, like was there even an Equiband on? Now, I also want you to judge the recovery. Now, when you first start using it, you have to assess, okay, how hard is this on my horse? Then you're going to be transitioning into, okay, so it started with this, it took this long to recover, and am I seeing any bit of improvement in how long it is taking the horse to recover from the workout? And then definitely just an overall, because you're going to start somewhere, and then there's going to eventually be a point where you're like, wow, that felt really easy. That felt like and I want you to make sure you're noting that, not only for, okay, that's your horse showing you they are ready for an increased difficulty challenge, but also because noting that it is getting easier is built-in motivation to keep using the tool and keep seeing the results that I know you can see, but as I've said in all of my videos, in my reaction video, in my, hindsight video, I used this tool for a solid 6 months, and I saw amazing, amazing, amazing results. But nobody wants to commit to 6 months worth of dedication like that without knowing what is happening from that dedication. And that's what I want this tracker to help you guys with. I want it to help you see the results so that when you forget, this is going to remind you. Okay, so that is the first spreadsheet. The Equi-Tracker is for a ride-to-ride basis, and you just taking a minute to say, hey, let's think about, was it better than the last time? Or of course, if you're just getting started, where are you starting from? And it can only get better the more you use it. So that's just part of any sort of fitness plan. But this new tab over here is the one I just added, and this is to help you track week to week. And because I was thinking about, what does somebody really need when they're using an Equiband? First, they have to know where to start. They really do have to understand, where's the right place to start? How do you get started? What is the proper way to get started? And then they want to know, okay, so from ride to ride, how am I doing the same thing every day? Or am I having to change it every single day? And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, I've been using it for this amount of time. what difference am I seeing? So what I would say is for the Equi-Tracker spreadsheet, that's something you would do after each ride, and then, or at the end of each day, like that you're using it. And then the Equi-Check-ins sheet is for week to week, so that you are gauging not only on a day-to-day basis what you're doing and how you're improving, but then also from a week-to-week basis. So these columns are also pretty straightforward, but it's looking at the overall week instead of the individual rides. So frequency, how many times did you use it? Did you use it 3 times that week? Did you use it 2 times that week? Did you only use it once that week? Because like any fitness plan, you're going to have to be flexible with life. I mean, or 0. Did you not use it that week? But as you go through week to week to week, you're going to be able to see patterns and say, okay, like, do I need to increase it or do I need to decrease it? Have I, not let up the gas at all? Because recovery is important too. And so this column C, did you increase the difficulty this week? Now, this is a drop-down menu, and there's 3 different options. So you may have increased the time, meaning the amount of time you used it, the duration of your ride. You could have increased the resistance, meaning how tight the band is, or you didn't increase anything and you just maintained. That is an option too. That is a very viable option for using this tool. So the Equiflex's video. So I made this quick video where it's a way for, so when you see the guy in the gym that's like, that's how bodybuilders know. They can see it on their body, how they are improving. Now, the same thing goes for horses in the sense that the only difference is they're not going to stand in the mirror and flex their muscles, so you have to make them flex them yourself. This video is going to show you 2 flexes, one for the abs and one for the butt, for you to be able to gauge if more muscles are being built. Of course, you have to also do it the first week to see where you're starting from, and just for a frame of reference, my horse, the horse in that video, and I tell this to you in the video, when I first did the ab flex, he didn't move his body at all, to the point where I thought I was doing it wrong. And I wasn't doing it wrong. He just got through his whole entire life without actually having to use his ab muscles. And it wasn't until the Equiband where it actually made him lift up in his core, because hard work beats talent. Everyday talent doesn't work hard enough, and he just didn't even need to use his ab muscles. So I was happy that the Equiband taught him how, though, because it opened an entire new level of this horse, and I know it's going to do the same for your horse, because ultimately, if a horse can use their body better, they can do more with it. And I don't know what that means for your horse. For every horse, it's going to look a little different, but even if you are somebody who is when you ride, right? So say you don't work out, but you ride. Okay, excellent. But if you started, say, cycling or swimming or running on a treadmill or added an additional workout, ultimately, inevitably, that is going to make the riding easier, because you're stacking your workouts and you're making your body better at what you're doing. And that's what this tool does for horses. It makes their job easier by making their bodies stronger. Now, this is just a simple checkbox. Did you do those stretches? And the question in your head then becomes like, did you see an improvement? Because you have to ultimately track this for yourself. I can't show up to the barn every day and hold your hand and put the Equiband on it. This is the best I can do to help you make sure that you are making the progress you want to make, and also tracking that progress so that you can see for yourself what the difference is, what difference you're making in your horse's world. So, and then the next 2 are ease rating and improvement rating. So overall, did it get any easier? Was this week any easier for your horse than last week? If you're doing a difficulty increase, your ease rating might not be that high, but that's also going to be shown in the increase. So say you increase the resistance, but your ease rating is crap. You're going to be able to see that and say, okay, like, it wasn't that easy this week, but we increased the resistance. Got it. That's exactly what happened in week 6, right? And then the next one being the improvement rating. So did you, did your, so did it get any easier? But then also, did you see any improvement? Now, I look at these as different because when you're riding your horse with the Equiband, there's weeks where where it's easy, but you also feel a huge improvement. Like their movement was easier. So I would say that's a huge improvement. Now, there could be also a week where you increase the difficulty and the ease rating takes a hit, but you still feel a huge improvement because they pushed through and their movement didn't actually, like, it's not like they started moving poorly. They just, you could feel that it wasn't as easy, but they were still improving. So I would think about these two things differently. And ultimately, again, I can't come out to the barn and put the Equiband on for you. So I just wanted to guide your guys' thought process in what are you tracking to make sure that you see the improvement. Now, of course, you can see it on your horse as well, but motivation truly comes from knowing why you're doing something. And if you're tracking the results, and so same with working out. Say you're somebody who goes to the gym every day. What motivates somebody to keep going to the gym is when they start seeing results. Their clothes fit better. They literally look skinnier, and that's what continues to have them show up every day, because by showing up, their clothes fit better. By showing up, their waistline gets smaller. So that is, or by showing up, their muscles get bigger when they flex. So by being able to track your results, you're going to inevitably build in motivation to keep showing up and keep doing it. Because like any fitness plan, like I said, there is no magic pill. This isn't going to happen in a week. It's not going to even happen in a month. And your horse ultimately has to tell you what speed, what rate at which you can go. When you use this tool for rehab, there's ultimately kind of an advantage, because you're only allowed to increase like the amount of work by like a minute or 2 minutes each week. So you're already restricted in how much difficulty you can increase each week. So you're already in this stagnant flow. Now, I will say this tool is not just for horses that are rehabbing. This tool is for all horses that want to improve the usage of their body and reach their highest potential. But you also have to measure how fast you can go, and your horse is going to be the one that tells you that. There's also, I'll link to another video, the 3 physical signs of how to gauge how hard this is for your horse. So there's a few videos linked to this one, because ultimately those are going to be your next steps in getting started with the Equiband. And the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to download this Equiband tracker for yourself. This thing is totally free, and it's all I need to do is know where to send it to, and then you can have your very own copy landed in your inbox. The one caveat I will say is I built this in Google Sheets. So using it through Google is going to be your best bet, because that's the only way I can guarantee that the calculations, that the cells with the calculations in them are ultimately going to maintain their calculation. They're going to hold the formulas that I put in there. If you open it in Numbers or in Excel, there's a chance that those calculations aren't going to work the exact way that you see this on the screen. So Google Sheets is just the easiest way for me to share this and guarantee that those calculations are going to stay strong. So at the end of the day, though, I believe in your guys' ability to calculate them, but with adding the other tabs on here, it really has transformed from, okay, how tight is my band supposed to be, to, okay, how do I make sure that I am making a huge impact in my horse's life? So Next thing, let me show you how to get this thing, and good luck with the Equiband. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them down below. I always look forward to talking with you guys about what you're struggling with the Equiband and any questions you may have. So let's see how to get this thing.